Hi guys and welcome to Prediction Week 16. We're absolutely running through these weeks and we start the lunchtime kickoff between West Ham versus Chelsea. It's going to be quite a hard game, this one actually. I know that West Ham haven't been at their best lately, well all season should I say. They've been quite terrible all season actually. But they usually up their games, so these kind of games like against Arsenal, Chelsea. And funny enough, they've got really two hard fixtures coming up of West Ham. They've got Chelsea tomorrow, and then they've got Arsenal on Wednesday night, I'm led to believe. But they're both at home, so as I say, two tough fixtures there really. They're probably sitting there thinking they're going to get anything out of those two, but they're going to try and give as much as they can, as much fight as they can, and hopefully pull off an upset. Fortunately, I don't think they will pull off an upset, at least against Chelsea. They might have a little chance against Arsenal, but we'll come to that when we do the predictions in the week. But I do think they will make it tough for Chelsea, but I think Chelsea are going to nick it. I'm going to go West Ham 1, Chelsea 2. We now go to the 3 o'clock kickoffs and we start with Swansea versus West Bromwich Albion. Again, Swansea not had their best season. Looks like they're going to go down. West Brom could also be going down. They've not really had their best season either. Do expect West Brom to be the strongest out of the two, even though it is at Swansea. I'm going to go Swansea 0, West Brom 2. We then have Tottenham versus Stoke. And, as I say, Tottenham's had a bit of a blip lately since they lost to Arsenal. They haven't been at the best, haven't been looking at the best either. But I do expect them to beat Stoke quite comfortably. I was just about to say White Hart Lane then. They're at Wembley. So technically they're at home. So I'm going to go Spurs 2, Stoke 0. Then we have Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. Again, two teams that have struggled again this season. But again, you'd expect Bournemouth to be the strongest out of the two, even though it is at Selhurst Park. I do think it's going to be a very tight game. Probably one of the games of the day actually, because it's going to be one of those tight two teams that are down the bottom. But I'm going to go Crystal Palace 1, Bournemouth 2. Then we have another quite a good tight game coming up. We have Burnley versus Watford. Obviously, we know that Burnley can make it hard for teams, and Watford can make it hard for teams as well. They made it quite hard for Arsenal when they went there. I think it was back in October, the end of October, and Burnley made it hard for Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, and we had to score a penalty in the 94th minute. So two very tough teams here going head to head against each other, and for that I've gone for a very tough, tight game. I'm going to go Burnley 1, Watford 1. Then we've gone for the lively game of the weekend, which I always have to have one. We have Huddersfield versus Brighton, two teams that have come up from the Championship and haven't been phased by the Premier League, to be honest with you. They've both to the Premier League quite well, both in the top half of the table. The last time I checked, I think that was about 2 weeks ago, so I think one of them might have just dipped into the bottom, I'm not sure, but last time I checked, they were both in the top side of the table. And for that, as I say, I'm going to go for a lively game in this one. I'm going to go Huddersfield 2, Brighton 2. At 5:30 we have Newcastle versus Leicester. Again, I'm going to go for another tight game here because Leicester haven't been at their best this season. They've had a couple of games where you thought, okay, they're getting back to the best, but then they seem to dip back into bad form. Newcastle, again, a team that's come up from the Championship and again haven't really been phased from for coming into the Premier League. They did start off quite bad, but they're starting to get some results together now. And again, I think they're in the top half of the table at the moment. So again, I'm going to go for another tight game. Bit of a tight weekend this one, isn't it? I'm going to go Newcastle 1, Leicester 1. We have 3 games kicking off on Sunday, and we start at 12 o'clock. Southampton versus Arsenal. Going to be a very tough trip for Arsenal going to Southampton. I thought Arsenal were very unlucky to lose to Manchester United last week, but again, it was the two errors in the first 10 minutes that cost us the game, really. Yes, we can argue that De Gea kept them in the game, and people can say that Mourinho's tactics and all that, but I do think that the 2 goals that we conceded early on in the game kind of killed the game, really. It kind of, I don't want to say flattened our mood, but it kind of sometimes when you score 2 early goals like that, it's a long ladder to climb, especially when it's a team like Manchester United. And especially when they've got a very good goalkeeper, which they did, in David De Gea. It was very hard to climb that ladder. And obviously they caught us on the break and they made it 3. And you knew at 3-1 it was all done and dusted then. You know, so I don't think obviously Southampton are going to be as strong, you know, or you know, should I say, or as intimidating as Manchester United. They won't be as tactical as Manchester United, but they are going to still make it quite tough. But if Arsenal play anything like they did last week, you know, they shouldn't have no trouble, you know, winning this one. But I'm going to go Southampton 1, Arsenal 2, and that's purely and simply because I think Arsenal are the strongest out of the two. And I think, like I said, if they play anything like they did last week, and if we can start with Sanchez, Ozil and Lacazette, then we should win quite comfortably. But we know Arsenal don't do things quite comfortably. So I am going to go Southampton 1, Arsenal 2. But I do think it's going to be a tough game. We're going to have to really, really work to get 3 points out of this game. Then we go to the Merseyside derby at 2:15, and we have Liverpool versus Everton. And again, Everton's been dreadful all season, really. Okay, they've had a couple of good results last couple of weeks. They have appointed Sam Allardyce, who's going to shore up the defence. But if Liverpool play like anything that I've seen them play the last couple of weeks and how they played in the Champions League the other day, I think that Liverpool can win this quite comfortably. If they really get Everton, who's having their confidence knocked at the moment, they've not been at their best and they're a bit vulnerable, then I do think that Liverpool can get at Everton. They can win this quite comfortably. So for that, I'm going to go Liverpool 3, Everton 1. And the same is going to be said for Manchester United versus Manchester City at 4:30. Again, I think if Manchester City can get at Manchester United and they can play the way Arsenal did. If Manchester City can play the way Arsenal did last week against Manchester United without the errors and that which you wouldn't think they would do, and if they can take the chances away which Arsenal didn't do. But then again, De Gea might keep in the game, so it was quite hard to call this one. But I've took De Gea out of the question a little bit and think that maybe Manchester City are better at finishing than Arsenal, a bit more clinical. So for that, I'm going to go Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1. I know a couple of eyebrows are going to be raised there, but I've explained why I've done that. So that has been my predictions for this weekend, guys, and I will see you Monday for Monday's predictions. Thank you for watching, guys.